was just listening to one of my friends complain about their flatmates and how rude and ungrateful they are. So naturally that put me in the perfect state of mind for this video. I'm gonna list 9 pros and 9 cons of living alone, like living by yourself, versus living with flatmates. Yeah, let's spill that tea. Just kidding, this is not gonna be dramatic. I've lived by myself now for 2.5 years and it's hands down one of the best things I've ever done for myself and for my mental health. Oh, I'm gonna try to let this fly out just a second. Oh, I got rid of that annoying bastard, finally. I'm gonna interlink the pros and cons. I'm gonna give you one pro and then a con that's kind of related. So the first pro is that there's no one else that you have to consider. You can watch whatever you want, you can play any kind of music that you want, you can literally do whatever you want all of the time and you don't have to think about anyone else. There's no one that you have to ask, like, is it okay if I have people over? Like, can I have a game night? Blah, blah, blah. Like, is this okay? Can this person stay over?
I called to order this off-site loft meeting. Nick, you have the floor.
But the con to that is obviously that you're always alone. There's no one in your home that you can socialize with. You can't just walk into your flatmate's room and be like, oh, let's watch a movie. So socializing is always effort, I guess you can say. You always have to, you know, invite someone over or go somewhere. You're always coming home to an empty flat or empty house. For me, this is not a huge issue because I really like alone time. I like being by myself. But sometimes, of course, it does get a bit like, I'm alone. No one else is here. I haven't talked to anyone today. So even though this is not a huge issue for me, I had to include it because I know that it is a big thing for a lot of people. This is also something that I haven't dealt with a lot, but it's a big pro in general, and it is that no one else eats your stuff. Like, no one is gonna just, you know, steal your food, which is great because, as we all know, one of the biggest issues with flatmates is that they will just eat your stuff. But the con side to this is that you have to buy everything. What's in the pantry is what you have bought and nothing else. You can't borrow anything from anyone unless you, I don't know, go to your neighbor, but I am never gonna do that. Sometimes when you live with someone and you're cooking and then you suddenly need something, it is really nice to have someone else just ask, like, is it okay if I like steal 2 eggs from you and I'll give them back or whatever. Now you just have to run to the store. This includes toilet paper. It's always you that has to buy the toilet paper, which it is nice that you don't have to argue with someone about who bought the last toilet paper because holy hell, I don't know why, but like toilet paper is such a like cost for attention, which is funny because it's such a cheap small thing to buy. But if you bought the last pack of toilet paper and they're telling you that they bought it so you have to buy it again, the anger is real. Another huge pro, one of the biggest pros for me, is that the kitchen is always free. You don't have to wait for someone to finish cooking. You don't have to wait for people to like leave the kitchen because sometimes people just love to loiter in the kitchen and then you can't go. Like, we live in London, there are small kitchens, okay? And you like just got home from work and you're super hungry, you just want to eat, and then you have to wait for someone to finish up in the kitchen before you can go and make food. That's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. One time I was making these new kinds of tacos and it took me like 3 hours. I was living with my friend Amy at the time and she like kept coming to the kitchen. She was so hungry and she kept coming to the kitchen because she wanted to make food and she was like, how much longer are you gonna be? I still make fun of how long it took me to make those tacos. This was like proper cutting up all these different herbs to make a sauce, making the tortillas myself, making some kind of buttermilk chicken. Like, this was a whole thing. But the con to the kitchen always being free is that you're literally always the one who has to cook. You'll never, you know, come home and your flatmate has made dinner and be like, yay, dinner time, like I made you dinner or whatever. Like, that's never gonna happen. Cooking with flatmates is not something I used to do a lot, but it's just now it's never an option. Another great thing is that the decoration of your place is entirely up to you. This is great because I think we've all had to deal with someone pulling in some ugly shit into your house and it just has to be there because it's their house too. You can't really be like, nope, no one else gets to bring in anything unless I approve it.
Let me give you ladies the grand tour. Bathroom, kitchen, who cares? And this is my scale model of the rolling boulder scene from Raiders with actual rolling boulder.
Ooh.
Yeah. Adios, Anito.
But the con to that is that you have to do everything by yourself. It did take me a very long time to sort that out. Luckily, I have great friends who have helped me put stuff on the walls because that's not, I'm not gonna say it's my weakest point, but it's not something that I've done a lot. I don't really care that much. I live abroad with the intention to again move internationally, so the feeling that this is temporary has just stuck by me so much that I'm not gonna really invest in decoration and all of these nice things that I'm gonna have to get rid of, essentially. But just simply getting curtains curtains. I have to do a flat tour video soon. I will tell you the story about my curtains then. Buying curtains is difficult, especially when your window is taller than most ceilings are. Several of my friends are gonna remember the struggle I had finding curtains that fit. Like, it was real. A really big pro to living by yourself is obviously that you get to feel very independent. For me, I live abroad in a different country and I also live by myself, which is kind of a responsibility. Like, I have to fix everything, okay? Which means you have to learn a lot of things, and it kind of makes you feel, I guess, empowered in some way. Whenever I tell people that I live alone, which obviously I know that this is a privilege to live by myself, like absolutely, so I'm not bragging about it. It's not gonna be like, hey, my name is Tone and I live by myself. I only bring it up when we talk about living situations, okay? But everyone is always just jealous that I live by myself. Everyone's like, oh my god, I wish I could live by myself. It's just like a really cool feeling, like coming home and like opening the door. It's like, this is my London flat. I live here by myself. For me, it's been such a like fantasy that I've just been like glamorizing in my head for so long that living wise, you know, I'm just living the dream. But the con to this is that you have to do everything yourself. You have to sort out everything. I think I've told this story before. When I started paying my council tax, I paid what the agency told me and I didn't ask the council. So I paid the wrong amount and then suddenly I got a bill and it was like, you owe £200. And I was like, oh my god. Obviously I paid that immediately and I was like, please be nice to me. I'm just a foreigner. That's scary. I don't want to pay the wrong amount of money to the government. I don't want to get in trouble. Or not scary, but you know what I mean. The last person I lived with was my friend Amy, and she is English. Like, I guess it was easier for her to just fix like the electricity and the water and all of that, and I just sent her money every month. Suddenly I had to do all that myself and I'm like, excuse me? No one taught me how to do this. And like, if there's a problem, then it's always me who has to be like, hello, this happened. Which to some people, like, I am just not that person who will be like, oh yeah, let's get that done. It's been a good learning experience for me and like it's strengthened my character, I would say. This is one that I know so many people will relate to, is that you can do laundry whenever you want. Because when you live with someone, then you always have to kind of just get to the washer first. Because if you don't, you have to wait at least a day. Because if you don't, you might have to wait a couple... Are you done? If they get there before you, you might have to wait a couple of days to do your laundry because the drying rack is gonna be taken. And this is obviously really annoying because sometimes you just really need to get your laundry done. Like, if you're on the last day of your acceptable wardrobe, then it sucks that you have to wait. You don't want to walk around in laundry day clothes for 2 days, especially if you have to go to work and look presentable. Obviously, if you're friends with your flatmates, you can probably be like, sorry, can I do laundry today? I really need to. Or be like, can we put our laundry together? Or can you just throw these few items in with yours or something? Figure it out. One of my friends, she lived with a really annoying person and she had one of those blue IKEA bags. If you know, you know. They make a lot of noise. That was her like laundry bag. And whenever her flatmate heard that she was getting ready to do the laundry, she would just dash to the washer and do it first. And that's just one of those things that's like, there's ways to be nicer about this, but some people are just really not trying to be good flatmates. You know it's true. The con to this is that you're always the one who has to clean. Like, literally, if you're not cleaning it up, no one else is. Sometimes I'm like, my shower is looking kind of gross, and then I'm like, yeah, because you haven't cleaned it. I had some plumbers come last week and it was raining and muddy and they just walked in with their shoes on, obviously leaving footprints, and I'm like, I have to clean that? Like, fuck my floor, right? Like, it's just so weird. Like, why would you do that? But yeah, I know that obviously cleaning rotas and all of that, it does not always work. It's a very big tension issue. People not cleaning, people missing their week, people just not doing the jobs they're supposed to do. It's really annoying.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, it's a mess.
But when you're living by yourself, you literally have to do it all the time. Whereas before, you would clean every 3rd week because that was your cleaning week on the rota. Now you have to clean every week. Another pro is that you have full privacy. There's no one around who can make you feel uncomfortable. You don't have to hide anything from anyone. You can walk around naked if you want. Well, I mean, obviously I do that all the time because I can. Which is why I really put a lot of effort into finding curtains that fit, because I don't want to be that naked neighbor.
What? Ugly naked guy got a thigh master.
No one's around you. No one can judge you. I mean, you shouldn't be living with people who would anyway. You're free to do whatever you want. if you know what I mean. You just don't have to worry about anyone else being in your space or anyone else being annoying. You just don't have to worry about anyone being around you or making noise or creating any kind of like mess. It's just amazing. You fully have your own space that you can do whatever you want in. The obvious con to that, or maybe not so obvious, but it's one that I haven't mentioned yet. Depending on where you live, London being one of the most expensive cities in the world does not help, but living by yourself is definitely gonna cost more, not just for rent, but all your bills. But it's a priority that you make, or I guess a sacrifice or whatever you would call it. Like, it's literally something that you choose to spend more money on than you have to, which you have to justify, but for me, it's 100% worth it. It's one of the best things I've done for myself, and I'm so much more comfortable living by myself. But this is not the case for everyone, so definitely figure out if it's worth it for you, and be prepared that every single thing that costs money, you have to pay it. This one is a huge one for me, and it's that you don't have to deal with your flatmates' guests. I've had several cases where people have like gotten into relationships, and when you've just gotten into relationships, you just want to, you know, stay over every single night. But this is really annoying for your flatmates because they didn't sign up to live with 4 people, they signed up to live with 3 people. It's just really annoying to have another person around, especially if they're really loud or annoying. Obviously, if you ask your flatmates and you actually have that kind of relationship where you can be like, is it okay that I have them over? Like, please tell me if it's annoying. Like, I know that I'm having them over a lot. Like, I'm just crazy about them. Figure it out if you can, but be considerate. It's really annoying to have more people over all the time. Sometimes you just want to be like really comfortable, and then you have a new person there that you don't know, that you're not comfortable around. Obviously, it can be a fun way to socialize and all of that. 2 people that I lived with, like their partners would be over, and both of them were just really great conversation partners. Like, I would love, like, if I was cooking and they would come in the kitchen and we would just talk for like an hour. Like, it was so nice. But not every person is like that, and sometimes it's just really annoying to have extra people around. One of the people that I have lived with had a friend that was over every single day. I did not like this person at all. This person is so far down on my shit list, and I had to see them every single day. I disliked it so much, but it was one of my friend's best friends at the time, and I didn't want to be like, please stop bringing them over, because I was in a bad place at the time, so I wasn't super social either, and my friend was very social, so I didn't want to be like, well, you don't get to have them over, but I'm not gonna socialize with you because I'm sad. I was trying to be reasonable, and I didn't complain about it. I'm still, you know, proud that I didn't complain about it, but that's definitely a factor that I just love right now, that I don't have to deal with other people's guests, because I'm very much a person who likes alone time, and I like to have peace and quiet when I want it. But a con to this is that there is no one in your home, so if you lock yourself out, you have to like contact your landlord, and that's obviously something you don't want to do, because then your landlords have to come out, let you in, and they're probably gonna charge a fee for it, or they're gonna be really annoyed at you, or both. You don't want that. Obviously, I have made a second set of keys and put it with a person I trust, so that if it does happen, then I have a plan B and I can go get those keys to get in. Because just thinking about like locking myself out and not having an option, oh, that gives me anxiety. So the last 2, the pro is that you don't have to deal with any kind of drama with your flatmates.
Jim was nice enough to give me his bedroom. I'm couching it, which usually means there are clothes all over the living room.
And this dude labels his food. He's the clean one, I'm the messy one. How much fun is this?
I think we all know this. If you've lived with someone, you've probably had some kind of disagreement with them, or something has happened that has just made it a little bit harder to live with them, and that's just a normal part about any kind of relationship. Like, of course you're gonna have disagreements, but I have had extremely uncomfortable situations. I've told this story before, but some people I lived with had a screaming argument in a language I don't understand in the kitchen, and it was highly uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that flatmates equal drama, because of course not. I have so many good memories of people I've lived with, and I wouldn't change that. I'm glad I, you know, made those memories and made those friends and all of that, but right now, like, definitely the right thing for me is to live by myself. This whole video, I'm not trying to be like, oh yeah, living with people sucks. Do whatever works for you. I don't care. This is just what I prefer. And the last con to not having anyone in your house is that if there's something you don't have, then you can't just borrow it. You can't just run to your flatmate's room and be like, I need that blue dress of yours right now, or I need this kitchen gadget that I don't have, or I need to borrow your PlayStation or anything. If you don't have it, no one else is gonna have it. So you're losing that convenience of having someone in your house that has what you need. I hope you enjoyed the list. I hope you related to it, or I mean, maybe not. I don't really know if this is a good list to relate to. And if you have any other good pros and cons of living by yourself or living with flatmates, then please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next Friday with a new video. Keep it the good vibes. Bye!